Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers show on the Bleav Network. I'm Mark Bergin, joined as always by Pittsburgh Steelers scout and two-time Super Bowl champion Ike Taylor, IT. Ahead on today's show, a ton to unpack, everything you need to know about the Steelers in the 2023 draft. And that's exactly where I want to start. Ike, you were in the Steelers war room. Right. Please paint a picture for our viewers and listeners of what it was like to be there as part of your scouting responsibilities.
Omar Khan, a.k.a. Omar the Khan artist, from everyday work to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, turned into a totally different person. Mark, I'm talking about he was laser in, he was locked in, he was focused. And in the back of my head, I was like, he was waiting on this moment his whole life. He was waiting on this moment his whole life. Very strategic. Mark knew what he wanted to do, knew when he wanted to do it. Okay, this didn't work out. This is my backup plan. Okay, we got action. This wasn't on my backup plan, so let's go this way. Let's move. And I was like, yeah, like control the room. And to sit there with head coach Mike T, because Mike T have a strong personality himself, strong personality. To sit there and watch how O worked the room and work the draft, I was like, I told O after the draft, I said, I don't even know you no more, bro. I don't even know you, bro. Like, you turned into somebody totally different, which in a good way. But yeah, Mark, just seeing everybody, seeing the stories, being in there, seeing the picks getting put in, being a part of the picks getting put in, just totally like the total collective group, Mark. All our scouts got different areas, different positions. And to see us just go from April the 1st all the way down to the draft, we have our 2 cents, our inputs with the coaches, head coach, and the owner, and Omar. And to see guys that you graded and to see guys that we actually drafted, I was like, man, I really am part of not only a great organization, but a billion-dollar organization. And it's exactly how they move and how they work. So I'm on the other side. Now, I'm in the game, but I'm not in the game, Mark. But to see Omar really impressed me, Mark, in a major way, because I've been knowing O for the longest, 20 years to be exact. And to see how he moved, it was impressive.
How was that different in his new current role as the general manager, as the one running the show, versus when he was still in the front office, but working alongside Kevin Colbert?
Contract man, getting all the goddamn numbers right. Still had a little input on dates and trades and who's coming up in free agency. Worked in the scouting department as well, right alongside of, I think, a Hall of Famer and Kevin Colbert. So when you saw that, the question mark was, we know he ready, but let's see what he do. And I'm just looking from the outside in, but I told O hired me like, bro, I'm gonna make you proud of me. I said, man, you ain't have to give me this opportunity at all. You knew I wanted to do it. You stuck to your word, and this is exactly what you did. So, but just seeing O, to be honest with you, be the captain of that ship, Mark, I was really proud of Omar, and it was relaxed. Like nothing was tense in that war room. We knew O had control. After O had control, Coach T like the guy, he like breaking the ice, so he keep everything pretty much calm in that war room, really in all the meetings. So it's just good to be a part of not only an organization I play for, but heck, in the front office, How many people can say that? Mark, you actually played for an organization, now you're having some kind of input of getting the guys you drafted. So, man, I'm just very, very, very blessed, Mark. But yeah, man, this is what I thought it would be, but it's even more. And this the dream. This is my dream job, and my dream job came true. But I wish you can be in the war room just to see the orchestration of everything, from the front office ladies to the scouts to Mr. Art and the Rooney family, Coach T and Omar, his assistant. It was like painting a picture.
Like the observation I'm getting is that how Omar Khan learned through osmosis under Kevin Colbert, it sounds like just by being in the room, you're doing the same thing as you're learning and seeing how others behave. And then you can take that for whatever's next in your career.
Oh, I'm Kenny Pickett. Last year was my rookie year. This year I got great expectations of myself. And hopefully they feel the same way about me. So that's exactly how I feel. So it's just a matter of time. I have a goal set in my mind, not only with the podcast, you and I, but when it comes down to this front office. So I know it's gonna take some time. I ain't worrying about that. But I think I had something on Taylor Talking on Instagram. You really know what your value or be valued to a corporation or organization. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Because if you a liability, it ain't good for you. So you got to have some kind of value. So that's where we at right now. We're that right now on this podcast, and I'm that in the front office, and we're gonna take off. And I told you it was just a matter of time, and the time is coming. We done put a lot of work in. I love our show. And regardless on what I think what's going on outside of our show, I get a lot of people talking about our show. I get a lot of people say they tune in to our show. So on that note, let's keep up the good work.
I think that's a perfect segue, and let's take care of some business. Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show brought to you by BetOnline.ag. They'll take care of all of your gambling needs. NFL draft is behind us. You can place a lot of bets on NFL futures. I think we're well into the playoffs for basketball and hockey. The Kentucky Derby is this upcoming Saturday as well. If you want to place a bet on any of the action, BetOnline.ag is the place to do it.
Yeah, 365, 24/7, whatever sport they have going on. The NBA playoffs is right now, so I'm sure y'all need to bet on that. So make sure y'all go to BetOnline.ag, whether it's Steph shooting over 6 threes a game or whether he's shooting under 5. Just make sure y'all watching anything dealing with sports, and make sure y'all go to BetOnline.ag.
You can see the promo code on your screen right now. Use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Ike, we're actually going to start in the second round with the 32nd pick. Joey Porter Jr., the son of your former teammate. And we find out just yesterday that he is going to wear your old jersey number. What does it mean to you that Joey Porter Jr. will wear your number 24 jersey?
I'm just like in awe, when you're getting older, when they call you Uncle Ike, I'm like, golly, like, dude, really getting up there, man. Friday, I'll be 43 years old on Cinco de Mayo. But at the same time, like I said on Dave Delmashek's show, he's the closest thing to a Rooney. Like, he was born in the city of Pittsburgh. He grew up in a time when we was winning Super Bowls. He grew up in a time where you came through them Fort Pitt tunnels and it was Gothic City in the playoffs. He grew up in a time when he was in the locker room. He grew up in a time when we was hitting playoffs. He grew up in a time where we was playing old school smash mouth football. And that's all JP Jr. knew at the time. And to actually, go to Penn State, born in the city, but get drafted by an organization that your dad played for at a high level, one of the true leaders when I was in the locker room, just a true leader of men. It's crazy. But for him to, to even acknowledge or say he wants the 2-4 because he watched Uncle Ike, I mean, I really am kind of lost for words. I appreciate that. So hopefully I had some kind of impact or input on him. He liked my style of play. But just to see how the young man, JP Jr., grew up, it makes sense why we would get JP Jr. He was born in it.
Do you ever look back, Ike, and think, like, when you were meeting Joey Porter's son, like, just how crazy that is that he not only gets drafted, he gets drafted into the Steelers organization, that he's now wearing your jersey number? Like, I don't want to put words near my mouth, but like, that's just like, if it were a Hollywood script, you'd have to throw it out, Ike.
So it's like I say, man, I was just leasing the number. Unless you're Big Ben or Troy Polamalu, one of the Hall of Fame greats, I was just leasing it. And Coach T said, well, you leased it for a long time. Not too many people say that.
Yeah.
So I really don't reflect back on my career. Really, the only time I do is whether I'm, smoking my one-of-a-kind cigars or whether you and I are talking on this show and we get to talking about it. But other than that, man, it's just like I'm always thinking 2 or 3 years ahead. But to be in a lot of situations I'm in today was because of football and the success I've had and not burning any bridges. I was taught that as a baby, treat everybody right, treat everybody with respect, and don't burn no bridges because you just never know who you run into. So just very fortunate about that though, Mark.
Ike, when I hear you say that Joey Porter Jr. is the closest thing to a Rooney, that resonates even further with me, knowing that you were a pallbearer at Dan Rooney's funeral as well. So for anyone watching this or listening to this that doesn't know Ike's history with the Steelers, 12 years with one organization, that's very rare in sports. And again, a pallbearer with the other family members at Dan Rooney's funeral, the owner, when you've got former presidents of the United States, other NFL owners, the commissioner, Lord knows how many Hall of Fame players that were there. So when I hear that, Ike, that bloodline connection, and hear you say that resonates even further with me than just to see all of the great social media reaction that there was, because Ike, had the Steelers drafted Joey Porter Jr. at 17 initially, like I would have been cool with that pick. I don't know about you. And they get him at 32, tremendous value. And it goes back to the savviness of Omar Khan, like we were talking at the top of the show.
Yeah, you can go ahead on hyphenate my name, Rooney Taylor. That's what you can go ahead on and do. But like you say, Omar just did he worked his magic. He did what his expectations are super high right now, and he's expecting to do that year in and year out, whether it's off season, whether it's through the draft. But for him, I tweeted, "God don't make mistakes." I saw the video of him and his dad when he didn't get drafted in the first round, and he was upset. And the Joey Porter, the leader of men, came out, and he was talking to his son like how he used to talk to us before the games, during the games, and after the games. And you run through a wall, you run through a brick wall for a lot of people. And Peasy, he'll put that battery pack on you. He'll make you run through a brick wall whether you want to or not, just on his actions and the way he just handled a lot of situations. So, but to see him interact with his son on that day, and I'm like, man, that's what dads are for them moments. Like moms are very proud of their sons, and usually when you're a boy, usually a mama's boy, because that's what I am. My son's one. I'm sure you're one, too, as well. But when you have that dad in that situation like that, moms can only do so much. That's when the dad role steps in, and that dad role stepped in, and it was just beautiful for the whole world to see it. We see it every day, but for the whole world to see it at that particular time in that situation, man, that was very encouraging.
And we'll talk more about the bloodline connection with some of the other players with the Steelers in the draft, Ike. But I cannot wait to see how Joey Porter Jr. carries on the Steelers' legacy, considering he grew up in it. I cannot wait, starting in 2023 and beyond.
Yeah, it's perfect for JP Jr. He gonna come in. He gonna already know what it is to be a Steeler. Like you ain't got to explain to him. You ain't got to tell him about the tradition. He grew up in it, Mark. So you ain't got to sit down and talk to him about the greats and the expectations. He been in them expectations. He was on the field when the confetti was falling and all that good stuff. He been around the good times and the bad times, more good than bad. So he was on the sideline for particular games. He was in training camp when he was small, working as a ball boy. So, like I say, man, if you want to say the closest thing to a Rooney that we drafted, other than me not even being from the city of Pittsburgh, you got to say Joey Porter Jr.
Ike, we're going to go back to the first round now. And this is where I knew this was going to be a special draft in the first round on Thursday night. Steelers get Broderick Jones out of Georgia. We get Kenny Pickett, a certified bodyguard. We get Najee Harris, a big body to run behind. And Ike, this was another thing I couldn't help but notice. And Petty Mark's going to come out here on the show this morning. The Patriots making the trade with the Steelers prevent the Jets from drafting Broderick Jones at 15. So they prevent their rival from getting a clear upgrade to Pittsburgh's upgrade. Thank you, Bill Belichick, helping out the Steelers in the draft. I couldn't help but notice this. I love this pick, and it's the first offensive lineman drafted in the first or second round for the Steelers since David DeCastro back in 2012. I love this pick, and I knew it was going to be a good draft as soon as they selected Broderick Jones in the first round.
BJ don't even know how good he is. He's a kid, a young man, I won't say. All he want to do is have fun and just smash people's faces. But he don't even know his potential. Like, football is just, he just love football, Mark. I mean, you see the YouTube, you see him, catching alley-oops, you see him shooting threes, you see him shooting jumpers. You were like, was you like a little small forward for basketball? No, I play football and I'm a dog. Matter of fact, I went to Georgia where we all dogs. So that's Broderick right there. But just see him come up in the war room, greet himself to everybody when we had a break, see how tall he was, how athletic he was, how in shape, how fit he was at the time. And then when you just pop on the tape, you like, oh, he got that Mortal Kombat mentality, that finishing mentality. You know what I'm saying? So the sky's the limit for Broderick. The sky's the limit, man. As a matter of fact, you can take the sky out. He's somewhere in sci-fi. This kid here, he's just he's what your franchise needs, want to have, and represents. All that man do is love football, Mark.
Finish him. I love that. And I'll say this. I saw some clips, some footage, some tape where he's going out on the screen pass, going hunting for linebackers and DBs, and he's moving to a guy that big shouldn't be able to move the way that he can move. It's got to be an opposing defender's worst nightmare, Ike.
And we call them dancing polar bears. When guys are that big, 300 plus pounds, but that light on the feet, it's a problem. That agile, who can move, who loves getting off the offensive line and going to the second and third level of the defense and having that finishing mentality. That's not, them guys don't come around too often. They really don't. And he's just a baby, Mark. That's the crazy thing about it. The young man's just a baby, but he don't even know how good he finna be. We just getting back to football players. Guys who love the sport of football. And it shows on tape. It shows when you like football and you halfway, going through your workouts and you halfway making excuses why you don't want to get up. You halfway being late to class in school, to guys who really do love football. And that's all they want to do. That's all they know. When you ask them a question, what would you do if you didn't play football? And they say, I don't know. That's how you know guys love football. So that's what we're doing right now for that organization. But Broderick, BJ, he just somebody cool to be around. Like you could tell, like, with the baby face, he ain't gonna do no wrong. And what I mean by that is, like, even if he do something, it's like he have a way of being like, I'm sorry. He's beyond his years when it comes down to the maturity part, Mark. But he's still a baby. As far as like his body wise, he's still a baby in the game. I'm just so glad we got him.
From a positional standpoint, too, if you want to keep him on the left side where he started all of the games in 2022 for the national champion Georgia Bulldogs, you can keep him there. Dan Moore Jr., you could then say, hey, do you want to compete for the right tackle position with Chooks or Corafor? So there's going to be competition there. I'm very curious to see how the Steelers handle all of that, just considering that you have two players with starting experience in Dan Moore Jr. and Chooks or Corafor. Now you bring in the first round pick with Broderick Jones. And speaking of Jones, too, I look at, okay, back-to-back national titles, Ike, and think about all of the great defensive players that Georgia has sent to the NFL. So he's accustomed to practicing alongside high-caliber, high caliber NFL talent before he even enters the league. It's just yet another feather in his cap. And honestly, I'm surprised he was there at 15, and credit to Omar Khan in the front office for being savvy enough to trade up to get a guy that was clearly coveted, because had the Steelers not done that, again, he would have been a New York Jet.
Yeah. You said it. You said at the beginning of this topic. You know what? Let me holler at somebody who's in that division. The Jets might be looking for an offensive lineman because they just got Aaron Rodgers to protect. Let me holler at New England right quick. New England, y'all really want the Jets to have Broderick? Nah. Do y'all want Broderick? Nah, we don't. Okay. Can we slide up? Yeah. Hold on. Give me 5 minutes. Bam. Boom. Here we go. Let's move. And that's just how it is in them war rooms. And I'm just talking like, I'm saying if I'm Omar, it didn't really actually go down like that. But since you brought it up like that, the Jets, and they play in the same division, it makes a lot of sense.
I'm trying to see the tea leaves beyond just the Steelers organization of how all of that went down. And Ike, I'm very plugged in on media and Twitter and watching the draft and everything too, but that's how it would have went down otherwise. And again, then the Steelers end up getting Joey Porter Jr. at 32, in which case, had they gotten him at 17, it still would have been cool. But then I'm seeing the value. Like Thursday, I knew it was going to be special, but then Friday, and we can transition on. The fact that Broderick Jones is also going to play with his Georgia teammate, Darnell Washington, too. You talk about an extension of the offensive line. And Ike, it's so funny. I was trying to figure out when I started talking to you about Agent Zero out of Georgia. But it seems like I've been talking to you about this guy for at least a year. And the fact that he's going to be in the black and gold in the Steelers uniform, I am over the moon. And the pick of Darnell Washington might be my favorite. And I like a lot of the other prospects, but this is just someone who really stuck out to me when I'm watching SEC footballs and during Saturdays in the fall.
Man, child, don't really introvert. Don't really say nothing to nobody. Don't really talk to nobody. He just want to hurt people. He in the hurting business. That's what Darnell is. So I'm so glad he's a part of the Pittsburgh Steelers, because that's all they want to do is just hurt people. And that's a throwback mentality. He just so happened to play tight end. He can catch the ball too. So I want to hurt you while I'm blocking you, and I also want to hurt you when I catch this ball and you try to tackle me, because I'm 6'7", damn near 6'8", 264 pounds. Try me. So when I'm looking at Darnell, like when you see him in person, when I saw him in person, I was like, all right, we got something. We got something. He don't really talk to too many people, and he's super mean, and he in the hurting business. Man, I'm so glad he got that Steelers uniform on.
I love this. And remember, a few things here. Georgia's got another tight end who's going to be a top pick in the 2024 draft. So the production, people will be like, if you look at the production, he's with so many other talented Georgia players, but the things he does on tape, I've just not seen football players do. And then at the combine, Ike, which clip do you want to pick? Like, he had the third fastest short shuttle of any player there, not just tight ends, but of everyone there. Think about all of the quick, fast, high twitch DBs, wide receivers, running backs. He had the third fastest short shuttle there, and he's a Steeler now. Like, I can't believe he was still there. I read some things that there were some medicals there, that there were some question marks, but like, people are going to look back at this, and it's now May the 3rd. People are going to look back on this and be like, how the heck did Darnell Washington fall to the Steelers where he did? And it's like, I don't know. You had the opportunity to pick him. And to me, it's like, I know it when I see it on tape and I see it with him. I just hope that translates to the NFL. I think it will, because you're not going to put too much onus on him. And the fact that you can then run multi-tight end personnel and packages with Freiermuth, right, Gentry, with Washington. We're going to get back to old school smash mouth Steelers football. And Najee Harris might be the biggest beneficiary of this, Ike, because Washington's going to serve as an extension of the offensive line and be almost like an additional offensive tackle when he's out on the field, run blocking for Najee and company.
Yeah, it is. He prides himself in blocking, though, Mark. Like, he's really a throwback tight end. Like, he really does. He's a six offensive lineman that just so happened to play tight end. So that 12 personnel, what I mean by 12 personnel, 1 back and 2 tights, that's like one of the toughest formations you can cover. Because if you got 2 tight ends that don't mind blocking, and they're ultimate mismatch when it comes down to the passing game, because corners are too small, safeties and linebackers aren't fast enough, and they're just power forwards. So their catch radius, their zip code, we would like to say, is wide. So that's getting back to that old school Pittsburgh Steelers football right now. So it's going to be interesting to see what that 12 personnel look like in the 2023 season.
Keeanu Benton out of Wisconsin as well, someone we talked about all the way back in February, and I had to dig to find it. One of the standouts at the Senior Bowl, a little bit undersized compared to your traditional defensive tackle, nose tackle, interior, but someone whose name consistently came up and made play after play after play after play, not just at the Senior Bowl game, but in the practices as well. And I know you were boots on the ground scouting him. Again, it comes full circle that the Steelers end up drafting him, a player we talked about here on this very show.
Yeah, just man, you talking about short area quickness with a mean club. That's exactly what you want from interior defensive lineman. Somebody who can get laterally just as well as vertically, but has a mean ass club, and that's exactly what he has. To move that well, that fast, to have that much of a quick twitch, and usually that's with smaller guys like myself, as a 300-something pound man, and to be able to get to the quarterback in a couple of steps, Mark, I felt like that was the steal. My personal opinion. I felt like he was the steal for us in the draft just by watching his tape and seeing guys move from one A gap to the next A gap. That's not a lot of space at all. We talking about 3 feet, maybe 3.5 feet max. And for a young man to be able to move that fast and get to the quarterback that fast and cause a lot of disruption at the University of Wisconsin, I thought in my mind, I'm like, man, we stole 3, but that's our prized possession right there in my mind.
Yeah, and it helps keep Cam Hayward fresh. He's going to be 34. Larry Ogunjobi played through injuries a season ago and still played at a very high level. He will be 29. You keep him fresh. It provides further competition for DeMarvin Leal, player you drafted a year ago out of Texas A&M, and you fortify that front 7 that's going to have 2 new interior linebackers in Landon Roberts and Cole Holcomb as well. So you shore up your interior, the front 7, your run defense, your pass defense. And Ike, you always tell me this all the time, it all starts up front. That's why I like this pick, because it helped preserve the wear and tear you'd otherwise put on Cam Hayward and company. You can keep those guys fresh by having a rotation and playing the hot hand.
Just guessing, because Cam is such a veteran guy, and you got to keep him on a pitch count because you already know what he's going to do when he get on the field on Sundays. Boy, he's going to have a country club training camp. Cam ain't going to need to do too much in training camp, but just stay in shape. And that's real, because we're going to need every little ounce he have in his body on Sundays.
All right, Ike, any other picks that you want to discuss? There's also Nick Herbig out of Wisconsin, keeping it in the family. His brother, an offensive lineman the Steelers bring in. There's also Corey Trice Jr., the defensive back out of Purdue, and Spencer Anderson, an offensive lineman out of Maryland. Any other thoughts related to the Steelers draft specifically that you want to discuss here on the show this morning?
No, just a heck of a draft by the organization, heck of a draft by the scouts. Everybody who put their 2 cents in, Coach T and Mr. Art and the Rooney family. We did our thing. We did our thing this draft, Mark. But honestly, before the draft, you can just go out and tip your hat out to Omar. He did his thing in the free agency. He addressed a lot of issues in the offseason. So he was willing, or they was willing to give us the luxury of, having a relaxed draft, so say.
Ike, the only thing I would say from the fan standpoint is Alex Highsmith in a contract season, TJ Watt coming off injury this past season. Keep them healthy, because behind those two edge rushers, I'd like to see more depth, maybe bring in a veteran player, maybe make a trade. That would be my only gripe, but it's amazing how all of the holes that I wanted to see addressed otherwise have been addressed either in free agency or the draft. And I'm not one to wish my life away, but I cannot wait for the start of training camp and ultimately the start of the season in 2023, Ike, because I think the future is very, very bright for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Pickett really do got a solid offensive line. I mean, I think everybody started, they were the only offensive line group that started damn near every game last year. And you saw towards the end of the season, the growth and development of Kenny Pickett. Now you get your young stud and BJ Jones. We forgot Allen Robinson we just acquired as well. Mm-hmm. So, man, it's Najee going to get back healthy. You still got Calvin Austin, the third, the speedster. It's a lot of, the tight end room is full. Pat Freiermuth, we already know what he can do catching that ball. He's always been a threat. Now you add on another young stud and Darnell Washington. So pretty much it's a lot of power on that offense. And that's what you needed to solidify that offense and that defensive line. And that's exactly what we did in the draft. We got a lot of depth at them two positions.
I love all the families too. The Haywards, the Watts, now the Herbigs, formerly the Edmonds. It's a one big family now, Ike, which is just incredible.
Yeah, if you got a brother, come to Pittsburgh, because we're going to get your other brother.
Ike, you're a low-key guy. You're very humble, but I saw this on the Steelers social media feeds, and I had to do a double take. You met comedian Tracy Morgan. I understand He was in town in Pittsburgh. He's doing a show, an unexpected surprise. Had you met him before? What was that like for you, meeting an absolute legend?
Man, Coach T know everybody. So Tracy pulled up in the cafeteria chopping up with Coach T, and I was like, man, I'm about to go holler at him. So I went holler at Coach T. After I holler at Coach T, I holler at Tracy. So we were just chopping. He's actually funny. He's just a funny dude. I think he might be more funnier just in a regular setting. Just my personal opinion. I haven't been to a stand-up one of his shows, but just sitting in that cafeteria like, man, let me leave before I just be crying all day from laughing, So he's just that kind of guy. So it was just good just seeing him. I seen him on TV plenty. I ain't never seen him in person. Got an opportunity to see him in person. Him and I chopped it up, him and his crew. We all chopped it up. I said a few slick things. She said a lot of slick things back to me. So you know how that is, like barbershop talk, Mark. So we did that and took a flick and just took it from there.
I used to watch the end of 30 Rock with my old man on Thursday nights. The Office would come on, and he'd always have a line or two in that show that would just it would just steal the whole episode.
Yeah, the dude just naturally funny. He ain't even trying. It's just, he was just dropped on earth to be funny and make people laugh. And he just does a good job at it.
Yeah, because at first it's like you're in the war room and it's very serious. And it's you and Merrill Hodge, who is a legend in his own right, very many different aspects as a broadcaster. And then I see another post and it's like, oh, look who stopped by the Steelers facility. And it's you and Tracy Morgan just hanging out. And I'm like, this guy does not live a real life. My guy, Ike, it was awesome to see, man. It put a smile on my face.
Yeah, I think it's normal. But look, I don't even know. I don't know no better. Maybe I'm just blind to the fact, Mark. Just, a lot of people just be sliding through. A lot of people I just know, but I just look at them like, fraternity guys, just been, one of the guys who, been through some stuff, became very successful, had to get it on their own, went the hard way. But, they just so happen to be superstars or A-list celebrities, so to say, but I just think it's normal, but it's really not.
I love it, Ike. A few other things from the draft. First and foremost, if the Eagles and Steelers ever play, Ike, it's going to be like a glorified Georgia alumni scrimmage.
100%.
Like, I see that when the Eagles got Jalen Carter, my dad texted me, Ike, and he's just like, do we want to give the Eagles the Super Bowl now or later? Because you've got Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis up front. Like, good luck to opposing offenses.
Man, if you play for Georgia, you might always say you finna play for Philly. Cause that's they got a one way. They have their own airline, and they say Georgia Philly. They ain't going nowhere else. And if you got a transit, that's exactly what that transit say. We got a transit all around the world, but you got to go to Georgia to get to Philly, because that's exactly what they're doing. That's all they drafted. They drafted some dogs. Can't be mad at them either. Can't be mad at them either. But they doing their thing too on the East Coast of PA.
Absolutely. One other thing too, like Lamar Jackson re-upping with the Ravens. I did think ultimately it would lead to that. Kudos to Lamar for getting his money. But I want to say this from a broad perspective. Aaron Rodgers now a New York Jet as well. You have elite level AFC quarterback talent, and that was why it was important to get Kenny Pickett a year ago if you're the Steelers. What I want to see is, okay, you got Jalen Hurts in the NFC. How else is that void filled come an NFC standpoint? Because I don't want to rattle off all the quarterbacks in the AFC, Ike, but there is elite level, stud level talent when it comes to the quarterback position in the AFC. And the NFC, there seems to be a void. How that void is filled is something I'm going to be watching this season.
A lot of Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the AFC, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, projection wise, you know, I mean, AR already in the Hall of Fame. Soon as he retired, go ahead and put him in there. But projection due to these guys stay healthy. Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Kenny Pickett, Lamar Jackson. I mean, man, it's just, and that's 5, that's 6 right there.
Josh Allen too. I'll throw in too.
I'm sorry, Josh Allen.
You're fine.
Just projection. Just if provided they stay healthy through the course of their career, just my opinion. That's six QBs. Now the NFC, I'm talking about Hall of Famers. I'm just speculating. I mean, the NFC, what we're really looking at in the NFC. If Jalen keep doing what he's doing, providing he stay healthy. But other than that, who you really like at that quarter? I mean, Russell Wilson, he down in he got the quarterback whisperer as a head coach now in Sean Payton. So that's 7. So that's what I'm saying. If you're in the AFC, your level of play got to be Pro Bowl caliber at that quarterback position every Sunday, because it's so deep with quarterbacks who are good in the AFC. The NFC, I mean, where you want to go with the NFC? Who you really like that at the quarterbacks at the Hall of Fame level? I'm not talking about all Pro Bowl. I'm just talking about projection-wise as an NFC quarterback. The AFC just loaded. And we talked about this on the show. A lot of careers, a lot of Super Bowls are going to get cut short because how deep the AFC at quarterback position is with talent.
I can't help but wonder too, like, if you're a quarterback that doesn't quite get it done in the AFC, say this season and next, or a head coach, how there could be opportunity for an NFC team to take advantage to poach a quarterback or a head coach. Go ahead, Ike.
We forgot Sunshine down in Jacksonville.
Yeah. I mean, you're proving my point, Ike. You're adding gasoline to the fire.
Mark, the AFC deep with young quarterbacks, young good quarterbacks. So we 7 to 8 deep. We just named like 8, and I think all of 8, other than Russ and Kenny, hit the playoffs. Everybody we just mentioned hit the playoffs.
Yeah, it's on the up and up. Ike, you're the absolute best. I appreciate the time, and thanks for working with my crazy schedule too. It's been a busy few weeks. It's a little bit of a relief that the draft is over for me, Ike. I love the draft, but it is a lot of content. But I want to thank you. I want to thank the Bleav Network, our video producers over at Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, Herbert Diaz, and the whole crew there. BetOnline.ag, today's sponsor. And I do want to thank the listeners and the viewers. We recently surpassed 2,500 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you so much for the people that continue to tune in here on the Bleav in Steelers show.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Mark. I want to thank BetOnline.ag for rocking with us since day one. Brinks TV. Got to thank all the viewers. Bleav in Steelers podcast. Thank y'all for giving Mark and I the opportunity. Also, got to thank everybody who's been tuning in, man. The viewers and the subscribers. Appreciate y'all. Keep doing it. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure y'all tune in and lock in and subscribe to Mark and I show Bleav in podcast. I want to thank you, Mark, as well. Make sure y'all review and rate us. Give us a 5-piece. You know, y'all talking about these 5-star athletes coming out of high school. We're 5-star podcasts, you know, coming into your living room or mobile. Mm-hmm. So want to just appreciate everybody who's just been rocking with Mark and I since day one. Want to thank everybody who's been working behind the scenes for Mark and I. This show wouldn't be this show without y'all.
Amen. For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thank you so much for watching the Bleav in Steelers show. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.
Mm-hmm.